I've been busy moving the last few months, and while settling into this new space, I kept thinking about this interesting chair that I had seen a while back.
Yang's balloon chairs are designed to be extremely light but exceptionally so that they can easily withstand the weight of an adult male.
A chair made out of only two materials: balloons and resin. I would have never been able to attempt making this in my last place, so I couldn't resist trying it now that I had the opportunity. My plan was to make the chair outside because of the messiness and smell, while I work on my office setup inside. And I had my first piece of furniture thanks to the sponsor of this video, FlexiSpot. FlexiSpot's E7 Plus is the perfect desk for all of my projects. It has a lifting capacity of 540 pounds, and with 4 legs, it's the only electric standing desk I would ever use for my stop motion work. Like, this thing's clearly not going anywhere. You can customize the desk to exactly the way you like it with a programmable height adjustment and so many ways to build out your desk. I personally went with this beautiful solid wood top, which I think not only looks good on camera, but will be great to work on as my main desk area. Right now, FlexiSpot is having their Independence Day sale, and if you use the link in the description, you can get one for yourself, and you'll be helping support the channel. Thank you so much, FlexiSpot. Now, back to the project. I knew this would be a messy project, so after considering my options, I decided I needed to construct some sort of controlled environment to create the resin balloons. But little did I know, this would be a total disaster. Now, I could start experimenting. I had done a lot of research leading up to this project and found these large party balloons that were supposedly crystal clear. So I hung a couple to the chicken wire and added a small weight to the bottom so they wouldn't blow around. I also found the clearest thin pour resin I could and mixed up my first batch. All I really had to do now was cautiously pour this resin all over the balloon. From my research and considering other possible ways to recreate these chairs, this seemed like the easiest and most cost-effective method, but it would be time-consuming. Each balloon would require about 10 coats of resin, and I would have to wait up to a day between coats for curing. While the balloons hadn't been as clear as I had hoped, luckily, as soon as I poured on the resin, it made the balloons crystal clear. Just 2 pours in, I was already noticing some major issues. Bugs had made their way into the greenhouse and were occasionally getting stuck to the balloons, but even more crucially, the resin appeared to be curing with a weird texture, and there were clear signs of overheating. This resin needed to cure between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, And after checking the temperature, I realized why everything was overheating. This greenhouse was just turning into an oven. So I tried to fix it. The temperature just wouldn't drop low enough no matter what I tried. And even as I considered more elaborate options, I realized there was only one solution that would solve all of the problems. Moving indoors meant sacrificing setting up my office for at least the next month, having less space for making balloons, and the added risk of ruining my walls or floors. But it would ensure that I would have a controlled environment as I headed into the summer months. I was finally ready to start experimenting again. As I experimented, my plan was to learn and account for all of the variables so that I could confidently create the balloons for the chair without too much variation. But being indoors, I was running into new challenges. The resin wasn't sticking to the balloons, and now it had a much more slippery texture. I decided to try experimenting with temperatures in various ways. And finally, after some trial and error, I had a resin that was the perfect consistency. Unfortunately, now that I had this crystal clear finish, it was obvious that my resin had a bunch of micro bubbles. I was nervous that after 10 layers it would make things look worse or even weaken the chair, so I had to see about getting rid of them. Yep, another problem to solve. I tried to save some money by throwing a vacuum chamber together with what I had laying around. But if you know anything about pulling a vacuum, you can probably guess how this turned out.
This DIY vacuum chamber was so weak, and while it did remove some bubbles, it just wasn't going to be enough to make a significant difference. So in the end, I still had to buy something, but it had a lot more power.
With almost all the bubbles removed, I felt I was ready to start making the final balloons. For the chair, I would need a total of 7 large balloons and 3 smaller support balloons. And with my setup, I would have just enough space to make the 7 large balloons at the same time. As I prepared, all I could think about was, what if one of these balloons popped during this first coat of resin? I hadn't really considered it too much up until this point, but now as I lined up these first 7 balloons, I couldn't help but think about the disaster that could unfold. While I had covered most things in plastic to protect from drips and spills, in the case of a balloon popping, resin would be flung everywhere. The walls, on me, the surrounding balloons, and it's incredibly hard to clean off. Now I was just thinking through all of the things that could pop them. For some reason, I decided to use wire to hang the balloons that had sharp ends. I would be pouring hot liquid all over them, and I would have to pretty aggressively rub the resin all around to make sure it coated things evenly. But it was time to pour. The first few coats would be clear to make sure nothing goes wrong, and then I would add color to the outer coats. Whew. The first pour was done. I could relax. For now. While I had made it through without any popping, things hadn't exactly gone to plan so far. I had attempted this pour a day earlier, starting with the curved balloon, which was by far the hardest to work with. I hadn't used enough resin, resulting in a terrible coating. While there were a lot of setbacks like this throughout this project that I had to cut for time, this one gave me a lot of hope to see how the balloon held its shape just after one coat of resin. Jumping back to the present, I was now well on my way with these 7 large balloons. trying to use plenty of resin so that each coat would be enough to spread over an entire balloon. With each coat, I had the task of mixing up multiple batches of resin, running them through the vacuum chamber, and pouring them every 4 to 6 hours. Each coat would take almost 2 hours to apply, with all of the steps and cleanup, and I ended up working through the night. In the morning, I added the fourth and final clear layer before preparing for color. However, yet another issue. My technique had been to add the resin, spread it around, and hope that the resin would self-level like it's supposed to. But unfortunately, over the course of 4 layers, this had led to some pretty uneven coats on all of the balloons, except for one. This one balloon had always gotten the last of the resin, and there was always a half cup left over to pour over the top, resulting in a much thicker coat and a super smooth finish. I really didn't know what to do about the other balloons, but I decided I should complete this one balloon so I know that the color and rest of the process works. So that's what I did. I tried using some alcohol ink I found online and wanted to go for a similar color to the chair in this photo. After a couple more days and 9 layers of resin, I decided to call it good. The color wasn't as vibrant as I hoped, but it was a starting point. I just needed to clean up these pointy ends. I attempted to sand and polish the rough parts, thinking maybe this is how I could handle the unevenness of the other balloons, but unfortunately, it did make the balloon cloudy on one side. After all of that work, I finally had one extremely solid, crystal clear resin balloon. Well, that's it for part 1, and I've made one balloon. Kind of. The sanding didn't quite work, but I think I'm just gonna have to sand all of these anyway. I just hope that's not a terrible idea.